Hey everyone, it's Jonathan, and today I'm joined by Rachel Wagner for an entirely different kind of podcast. Something I've wanted to do for a while but never really had a spot for. But with how random this holiday season has been, I figured now would be the perfect time to test out a new format. I've listened to people do movie pitch podcasts and fan casting their preferred versions of a movie for ages, and it always seemed like so much fun. I really wanted to try it out, and I thought a great way to test the idea would be with Christmas movies. My original idea was to do a few stories that I've already done for every version ever, like A Christmas Carol, The Nutcracker, or The Grinch. I asked Rachel what she thought, and she suggested doing Miracle on 34th Street and It's a Wonderful Life, as well as A Christmas Carol, since that's a favorite for both of us. I hadn't seen those in years, but I figured now would be as good a time as any to revisit them, and I knew their cast of characters would make for a really fun, creative exercise. And while my initial idea was mostly in the fan casting realm, Rachel went on just pure concept, and as much as I like some of my ideas, if I could only will one of these into existence, her pitch for It's a Wonderful Life would be it, no question. Well, let's start with A Christmas Carol, because that was my
Okay.
original idea, and then you added on a couple ideas to that,
Oh,
but A Christmas Carol was the first one, so let's start there,
okay.
and why don't you give your pitch first?
It is hard because it has been done so many times. It's
Yes.
hard to come up with something creative and new. But here is my idea. I think it could be fun if you have a children's entertainer who is forced in his line of work to be perky, to be happy, to be whatever. And but that makes him extra grumpy and mean to everybody around him because he's forced to be perky as a children's entertainer.
Okay, so
Um,
you're going with like not a traditional. You're like going with a new story that is based on A Christmas Carol.
yeah, like it's a new pitch.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was thinking who could be fun that would be good at playing the grumpy children's entertainer. And the first person I thought of is Lewis Black, whose anger in Inside
Oh,
Out. He's famous for being very grumpy.
that
For
could
being
be good. Yeah.
so if you had him like be forced to be super perky, I was just thinking like how funny would it be like I don't know, somebody that's like Barney the dinosaur, and he's forced to be like super and so as soon as he gets off air, he's super grumpy to everybody around him and to his assistant who would be the Cratchit, character.
Uh-huh.
He's also like really jaded about Hollywood and the way kids are treated and exploited and talked down to. I also think like an interesting, if you wanted to kind of make it new or fresh, would be that kind of Scrooge, each step of along the way, he kind of has to earn the new ghosts. So he has to make at least some kind of change or
Mm.
learn something from each step along the way and
Mm-hmm.
sort of prove that. And then, like, once he does that, then he can get the next ghosts, the next thing. I think that could be like a fun new way to do the story because I mean it's just I've been done by everybody from Mickey to the Muppets to
Uh-huh.
everything in between. And I definitely was thinking a lot of the Bill Murray Scrooged with
Mm-hmm.
this, where he's like this executive and he like I don't know, have you ever seen that one?
Yes.
Scrooged?
Yeah.
With the night the reindeer died and kind of thing like ridiculous. I think you could have a lot of fun with stuff like that, and make it funny and all this sort of poking fun at children's entertainment and Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
That could all you could even have a lot of fun poking fun at Disney. That
Yeah.
that could be good. So that was kind of my idea.
Did you have any ideas for who would round out the cast, like who would play the ghosts and such?
I didn't really have any other casting. The Lewis Black was kind of as far as I got as far as casting.
Okay.
I think you could have almost anybody. But
Yeah, that's true. Especially if you're doing it this way.
mhm. I mean, somebody like a Kristen Bell might be fun for the Cratchit character.
Oh,
Somebody who's known for being
yes.
like very sweet and very
Yes.
Amy Adams. She could be fun. Anna Kendrick, someone like that.
Yeah, definitely.
I
That'd
think
be
that could be
great.
fun.
Well, for mine, I went sort of more traditional. I have a whole cast. Like I
Okay.
cast the whole thing. but I kind of found myself in a groove where I kept picking people from Doctor Who. So then I went back and rewrote the whole thing as Doctor Who cast, except for one person. Is one person kind of put me on a path in one direction, and I kept that person. But the rest of the people are Doctor Who. For Ebenezer Scrooge, every time I talk about A Christmas Carol with Mark, we last few years he's asked me who I would want to see as Scrooge. And the first person always who comes to mind is Peter Capaldi. He would be a perfect
He
Scrooge.
would be good. I agree. I agree. I can see that.
And then I was trying to think like who could play him as a younger Scrooge. And then I was like, well, Matt Smith regenerated into Peter Capaldi in Doctor Who, so why not have Matt Smith be the young version of
You
Scrooge?
really were on Doctor Who.
And then Jenna Coleman, who was both of their assistants, she could be Belle.
She's so much younger. Isn't she so much younger than him though?
I mean, for the Matt Smith character,
Oh,
if
for Matt Smith. Okay.
yes. But I also thought if they do at the end, if they do the version where Belle comes back and you have an old Belle at the end, then I want Michelle Gomez because she played the female version of the Master, and there was always some tension between her and Peter Capaldi. I was like, they would be a good couple. My other idea was like, if Michelle Gomez doesn't come back as the old version of Belle, then I still want her in here as Mrs. Dilber,
Oh,
his maid, housekeeper at
yeah,
the
yeah,
end.
yeah. You know who could be fun if you were going along that route is if you had like Hugh Bonneville as present, Christmas present,
Okay.
because he was with Capaldi from Paddington.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That could be cute.
Well, the person who I had that is not from Doctor Who, it was the first person I was trying to think of a Tiny Tim. And I will say, like, for all of these, for all the movie pitches we're doing, it was so hard for me to come up with children to cast because I don't know a ton of children. And every child I thought of is somebody who's an adult now. I was like, this is impossible. But for whatever reason, the first person that popped into my head for Tiny Tim was the child in Superman, the young Jarhanpurian boy who hoists the flag at the end.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like,
I could see that.
he would be a great Tiny Tim. And then I was trying to think of who could logically play his parents, and I had somebody, but then after I started doing Doctor Who stuff, I went back and rethought. So I thought you could have Sasha Darwin as Bob Cratchit. He played the Master during Jodie Whittaker's run.
Hmm. Okay.
And then Anjali Mohindra could be Mrs. Cratchit, who he is actually married to, but she was in the Sarah Jane Adventures, which was a Doctor Who spin-off. I didn't realize that they
You
were
could just
married.
call it. I mean, just have the TARDIS involved in some
I
way. Let's
know.
just. I mean, they already had Christmas Carol in Doctor Who. This would just be
Yeah,
a continuation.
yeah, this would be a more direct translation of the story. But then for Jacob Marley, I put Bradley Walsh, who played Graham during Jodie Whittaker's run. He was
Okay.
like one of the older companions. Like there's not many old companions. Not that he's old,
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember that.
but I thought he would be a good Jacob Marley.
I could see that. He and Capaldi would be good together.
Hmm. And then for Fred, I thought immediately of Arthur Darvill, who played Rory during Matt Smith's run. And then for Mrs. Fred, Karen Gillan. Amy and Rory back together.
That would be a big get. She's a pretty big movie star at this
I
point.
know,
I feel
but this
like
is my
for that
fantasy, so
role, I think
there's
you
a
would need to give her more to do.
I know, there's a bunch of my pitches where this would never happen because it's like a super famous person in a tiny role, but it's my fantasy, so Karen Gillan can be in here for 3 minutes as Mrs. Fred.
I guess it would be more like a cameo almost.
Yes, yeah,
She might be
definitely.
fun as like past Christmas past because she's so perky
She
and
would
like
be.
cute, and she would be fun.
I originally was trying to think of a female past because traditionally past is played by either a child or a female, somebody who's like a ghostly waif.
Yeah.
But then I was trying to also think in the book, past is described as a candle. So then I was thinking maybe I should go something more traditional to the book and find like a really thin guy who could be this candle version of past. And then I was simultaneously trying to think about all the ghosts. And my first thought, like I was trying to think of somebody bigger for Christmas present. So for whatever reason, my first thought was Matt Lucas, who played Nardole on Doctor Who. He also played Tweedledum and Tweedledee
Oh
in
yeah.
Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland. So I looked him up because I was going to see how tall he is because I was like, he's probably too short. And then I saw he's lost a ton of weight. And as soon as I saw what he looks like now, I was like, he can be the candle version of Christmas Past.
A lot of people might know him from Bake Off.
Okay,
He's
I'd heard that he had
old.
done that, but I don't think I've seen him. I might have seen a clip, but I haven't watched an episode of him with doing that.
Yeah.
But yeah, then for Christmas present, I decided to go with Nick Frost, who he has played Santa on Doctor Who. So, like Christmas present has always seemed like a Santa figure to me. So I thought he would make a good Christmas present.
I can see that.
And then for Christmas yet to come, for whatever reason, the first person, even before I had decided to theme this around Doctor Who, was Christopher Eccleston. Just like he could just stand there menacingly and say nothing in a big robe.
That's funny.
And
That
then
would be a good use of his talents.
and then I just kept getting more and more into the weeds and I was like, I should find a Fezziwig. So then I thought Sylvester McCoy could be Fezziwig. And then I was trying to think of somebody who could be Mrs. Fezziwig, and I thought of Annette Badland, who played an alien in the first season of Doctor Who. Do you remember the Slitheenes?
Hmm. Hmm.
The, she was the main Slitheen that they stuck with for a couple of episodes.
Hmm.
And then I found out she's already played Mrs. Fezziwig.
You could
And
have Penelope Wilton. She
I
would be
thought of
good.
her too. Yes, I
Yeah.
didn't add her, but I thought she would have been great for something. I never got around to finding a place for her, but she would
Yeah.
be great. I love her
Yeah.
so much.
She's the best. Well, I mean, you went all out. I didn't know we needed to do the full cast, but
I mean, some of these, like, I couldn't think. I went more into the weeds in some places than others, but I just kind of went all out for this one. But yeah, I would love a Doctor Who Christmas Carol. Like, we already have one, but a traditional one.
another one.
Yes.
Uh, yeah, hey, I'd watch it. That's for sure.
Well, moving on to Miracle on 34th Street. What is your pitch for this one?
So this is I think pretty fun. So my pitch for this one is we have Santa Claus and he's working at the mall, but they're going to change his job so he's no longer working with actual children, but he's and now he's a virtual Santa.
Mm.
And he has them that they're supposed to like sit on his lap virtually and he's just like this is absolutely ridiculous. And and so I thought that could be kind of the creative take on, you've got like the cynical corporate exec who's trying to do this virtual Santa. But here's the other creative take, and I'm not sure you'd have to work on the script. But so there is actually a musical version of Miracle on 34th Street that's almost never performed. It's actually called Here's Love. Its most famous thing about it is that it's where the song "It's Beginning to Look a Lot Like Christmas" comes from.
Really?
This this musical, yeah, and it's
Huh.
written by Meredith Willson, who wrote The Music Man,
Really?
and yeah. So I think that they should do is have a modern take on Miracle on 34th Street using the songs from Here's Love, and you cast Ringo Starr as Santa Claus. He's
He would be
acted
a very
before.
interesting Santa.
He's like 85, so he's old
Yeah.
he could be Santa, and he's good with kids. He's been on
Uh-huh.
PBS all those years, Thomas Tank,
I grew
and
up with him
everything.
as Mr. Conductor on Shining
Hmm.
Time Station.
Yes. And he would be absolutely outraged about the idea of a virtual Santa. This would be ridiculous. And, and you could have like the computer designer who's having to make this virtual Santa be the one who's like disgusted with this exec and this idea, and they could have kind of an enemies to lovers sort of arc. And her daughter doesn't like virtual Santa and is like, no, I want to actually see Santa. And and she becomes friends with Ringo Starr. And you could have little spots for all these fun songs from Here's Love. And there you go. It writes itself.
Yeah. I had found Here's Love on Wikipedia. I didn't know if it had ever been filmed, but I saw that there was a play, and it made me start thinking like maybe I should be doing a Miracle on 34th Street series for every version
So
ever.
it's never been filmed. It's rarely even performed. It's only been on Broadway one time in 1963.
Really?
And yeah, so and it's only had two productions. It's had one in 1963 and then one in Toronto in 2007. That's it. That's the only time it's had major
Why?
professional productions. I actually got to see it last year. It was a rough production, but I at least got to see it. Sometimes it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Um, I guess that song was actually written in 1951. So it wasn't written for the musical, but it was written by Meredith Willson. So it was put in there.
Hmm.
Um,
Okay.
there's also a song called Pine Cones and Holly Berries that's somewhat well known. So I just think that would be fun. It would be nostalgic.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea, I think there's something there in the idea
Yeah.
of like, we're not going to have mall Santa anymore. And you could even make the argument, oh, well, nobody's going to the mall anymore. Everybody's shopping online. So why not have a virtual Santa?
Mm-hmm.
And then all the kids being like, their mom and dad are like, oh, you're gonna get to sit on Santa's lap, and then they are like, here, go in front of the Zoom, or whatever, and they'd be like, oh,
That does feel like something that could happen these
yeah,
days.
could and probably has happened, and I think you could, I feel like there's something there that you could
Yeah.
do with.
Plus, if you're basing it on the musical, that is definitely a way to set it apart from the original, making it a
Mm-hmm.
musical.
Yeah, because I mean, so we've already had the original, and then we had the remake in I think '94, and
There's
both of those.
actually several remakes. I had no idea until I started doing this episode. I started looking up stuff. I was like, there was a bunch of TV versions
Sure,
between
sure.
the
There's a bunch
two.
of TV versions, but it's the feature films. That was
Yeah.
the major remake. And I mean, yeah, there's a million TV movies that are, if not an actual remake, very paying homage, to
Hmm.
Miracle on 34th Street, and tons on Hallmark, of course. But the only reason you don't see more of it on Hallmark is it kind of necessitates the character being in the city, and they usually don't like that. They
Oh,
don't like,
that's
city
right.
girl. So that's the only reason you don't see it more. But,
I don't remember. I saw somebody on somewhere on social media, some post about someone wishing for a Hallmark movie where the big city girl goes to the small town, realizes she hates it there, and goes back to the big city.
and I mean, there's a famous Ted Lasso where he talked about that they kind of suck. the, the city girl going to the country, falling in love with a hometown hunk. I mean, but the thing is they don't do that as much as people think. And it was interesting because Great American Family, we just preview them. We don't actually cover them on the podcast, but we were doing the preview, and almost every single one of those movies were City Girl going to the country. And I'm like, it made me realize, like, wow, okay, like Hallmark
Hallmark is catching
is
strays for
progressing.
Great American Family.
They're progressing. But, but but anyway, I think that there's something there with Virtual Santa and Here's Love.
Yeah, there is.
So, and Ringo Starr. So do it now before Ringo Starr gets much older.
Well, mine is sort of more traditional, but my ideas from modern day. And I fully cast mine again. Part of it was, have you watched the show Abbott Elementary?
Mhm.
Okay, well, part
You
of
looked at
mine,
it.
the cast of that kept coming back for me for the next couple of
Oh, this
things.
is your Doctor Who for this one?
No,
You-
like partly. Only for the main characters because I thought
Okay.
Quinta Brunson immediately as Doris Walker.
Okay.
And then because of her, I thought
But she's so positive. It's hard for me to imagine her being cynical.
she could act.
She just has such a bubbly, happy persona. I don't
That's
think of her as
true.
like a cynical character.
That's true. But I think she could do it.
But she's very talented, so I'm sure she could. But
Yes. But then because I put her as Doris, I thought of Tyler James Williams as Fred Gailey, who is her love interest on Abbott Elementary.
yeah, that could be fun.
I like them together. And then I had so much trouble trying to find a child. Like I really was trying to not do everybody from the same show because after I did all of Doctor Who, I was like, I can't do this again. So I don't want to just pick a kid from Abbott Elementary. And then I ended up like being like, okay, whatever, I need to pick a kid from Abbott Elementary. There is a scene in Abbott Elementary where there's this little girl who goes to Mrs. Howard dressed as Mrs. Howard. There's like 100th anniversary thing going on, and she was like pretending to be her because she thinks she's 100 years old. And I was like, this little girl looks like she could be related to Quinta Brunson. And she's kind of the perfect age. So I was like, I'll just have it be her. So I looked her up. She's a child rapper. And she's not bad.
Hey, there you
Like,
go.
okay, this kid has talent. She's hilarious. She can rap, apparently. It's like she could be the perfect Susan Walker.
So would you have Shirley Ralph be Santa?
Oh, that could be interesting. I didn't even think about that. I love Shirley Ralph. She is
Yeah,
so great.
she's a legend.
I should have tried to find a place for her. But anyway, that's where I think that's all I've got for Abbott Elementary on this. For the rest of the cast, I went with other people because I was really
Okay.
trying to think of somebody who could embody the kindness of Santa to play Kris Kringle. And the person I thought of that I felt could fully pull this off was the guy who played Jonathan Kent in Superman. Pruitt Taylor Vince. I had never seen him in anything before, I don't think, but I felt like he could embody the kindness of Santa. You just need to give him a big white beard and a red suit. He could be Santa.
That could work. He's no Ringo Starr, but yeah.
And then the rest of these are all kind of people that I was like just trying to fill out my cast. For the assistant at the store, the guy who works with Doris, I thought of Will Forte, Julian Shellhammer. And then he has a scene with his wife where he's trying to get her drunk. And I thought either Kristen's wig or shawl could be his wife. One of the Kristens would be perfect as this drunk character. And then also, speaking of drunk characters, I thought I need a drunk Santa. And I thought of the guy who plays the janitor on Abbott Elementary. I forgot about him as part of my Abbott Elementary kick. William Stanford Davis, the janitor on Abbott Elementary. I was like, he would be a perfect drunk Santa.
Yeah, I could see that. That would be fun.
And then the evil psychologist, I thought of Peter Serafinowicz. I looked him up and I was like, he just kind of looks like the evil psychologist. And then for the kid who is sort of influenced by him that makes Kris Kringle get upset, I thought Gaten Matarazzo. He's in Stranger Things.
Oh yeah.
I thought he's a little bit older than 17, I think, at this point, but he could still pass for a 17-year-old.
Yeah, he has a young face, so that works.
For the judge and his political advisor, I have Nick Frost again for the judge, but then I thought Simon Pegg could be the political advisor. And then this was like a last minute thing. I couldn't think of anybody who could be the district attorney, so I was like, why not Adam Driver?
Wow. That's funny.
But my main idea is that I just want Quinta Brunson in the lead. I love her. I think she needs to lead a movie, and I think this would be great for her.
Yeah, she's very good. So I could almost picture, I think it's Lisa Walters. I think that's her name.
Yeah, I
Like
was trying to find a spot for her too.
she almost seems a little bit more of a Susan type.
She would be, but
I mean, a Doris type.
she's older too. She's like in her 50s, I think.
Yeah, she just seems more cynical, more
Yes,
like,
definitely. I
you
was
know.
trying to find a place for her also because I love her too. I didn't find a spot where she could fit, but I just had her in the back of my mind the whole time. I was like, I need to find a spot for her. I think I just love Abbott Elementary. I love all the people on that show. They all kept coming to mind for various things.
You know who would be great as the district attorney is Elaine Hendricks from Parent Trap.
Oh.
Yeah, she would be great.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
mhm.
Yes, she would. I didn't even think of gender swapping any of the characters. I did for It's a Wonderful Life. I have a few gender swaps for It's a Wonderful
Ooh,
Life.
I'm very excited about my It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah, I think that's my favorite cast that I came up with. Well, for It's a Wonderful Life, I have two versions. One of them is only partially filled out. So
Ooh,
I want to start with my one
well,
that I've only
you cast. I didn't cast that much on mine. Is more just concept
okay.
for
Well,
mine.
maybe you can help me flesh out my second concept because my second concept was one that I had before I did the first concept was like there needs to be a Disney version of It's a Wonderful Life.
Well, mine's kind of similar, but okay. So here's my idea for it's a new take on It's a Wonderful Life. So you have It's a Wonderful Life Home Alone edition. So what we have is we have Macaulay Culkin, the
Mm,
real, like not playing a role, Macaulay Culkin.
okay.
Okay. And he basically he's like feeling jaded. He's like, why did I get everybody just thinks of me as this child actor, blah 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 blah. And so he
This is already my
gets
favorite.
so he's feeling, just cynical. I want to give up on acting, whatever. So he gets visited by the angels and gets shown the world without Macaulay Culkin. So no Home Alone, and how 90s movies would be different without Home Alone. Comedies would be different without Home Alone. You could have his whole, like his family. You could Brenda Song could be in it and all sad because they're not married if he's not there. You could have you could have his brother in there. Like no Oscar for Kieran without without Home Alone. That's one of his starting. He was in Home Alone as well. So no Oscar for Kieran. You could have just saying like how bad like family comedies were in the 90s without Home Alone, and there were no 101 Dalmatians, no fun in like it'd just be like a
Uh-huh.
dismal place. Children were sad because no Home Alone, and because I'm not kidding you that when I ask, because I always ask in interviews during the holidays, one of the questions I do my fun rapid fire questions. I ask, "What is your favorite Christmas classic?" And I'm not kidding. Probably 80% say Home Alone. It is by far the most popular answer. Like nothing is even close. And so if we didn't have it, like so sad, we wouldn't have. And you could even have like Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern, who never get to be in comedies and nobody likes them, like that could be funny. Like there's so much that you could do that would be hilarious. And I think that Macaulay would be totally up for it. He's done all these like
Mm-hmm.
commercials and about playing Kevin McAllister. And I think he would be up for doing this sort of meta, thing. And you could make it really sweet too, because like he would miss his wife and he would miss like everything. And so, yeah, that's my idea.
That's such a great idea. If
Disney, if you're
if
listening,
if you were to
make me
do this
executive
kind of
producer.
a yeah, if you were to do this kind of a movie, he is the perfect choice.
Yeah,
Like
right?
he would be game for this. He's the perfect person that it would have such a huge effect if you were to remove him from history. That's a perfect idea.
You could have Catherine O'Hara be like, everybody thought I was a bad mother. I mean, everybody thought I was a good mother because everybody thought I was a bad mother because of Home Alone. There's something there.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, no, he'd be the perfect person to do like a real life version of this. Yeah, that's a great idea. Well, my non-fleshed out idea is different than that. My for like I was thinking of a Disney version in the vein of Mickey's Christmas Carol, like where you cast the Mickey characters as
Yeah, but
characters
then
in
you
It's a
gotta have
Wonderful Life.
Mickey wanting to commit suicide. Like that's just too dark.
The my first idea was Mickey and Minnie, but then as I started trying to fill it out, I was like, no, this wouldn't work with Mickey and Minnie. So then I thought it could be Max and Roxanne from a Goofy movie.
Something a suicide arc for Max would be how to be a choice.
But then you could have like all of these would be like in the vein of Mickey's Christmas Carol. They're playing characters like this. Not everything is going to be perfect because he needs a younger brother. So I thought PJ could be the younger brother, and then Goofy is obviously his dad. But I think in this version, let's just have it be his mother who did the building alone, and then she dies, and then Goofy's there for the rest of the movie, and then Pete has to be Mr. Potter.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
And then for Clarence, maybe it's too on the nose and too close to Mickey's Christmas Carol, but I thought Jiminy Cricket as Clarence, and then the Blue Fairy as the angel characters that send him to Earth. Like it's just the Blue Fairy sending Jiminy Cricket to Earth. And then you have to have Mickey and Donald in there so they could be Bert and Ernie. And then
Oh, that could be
Scrooge
fun.
could be Mr. Gower. And then this is where things started falling apart. I was like, my brain is shutting down. I have Clarabelle Cow as the maid and Daisy as Violet, and then that's where that's where it
Well,
ended.
see, like I was thinking, oh, could you do I just can't. You can't have an animated character when he'd kill himself. Like it's just you can't do it. I can't think of a single way that that could work, unless you went like an adult animated film. But of course, Disney isn't going to want to do that.
Yeah,
Uh,
I mean, it doesn't have to be like an extreme one-to-one adaptation. There doesn't have to be a suicide subplot.
well, what else could you do that would necessitate the angel coming down? That would be that urgent.
I don't know. This is why things started falling apart, and I
Yeah,
couldn't finish my
all right.
my thought. I was like, I want a Disney
I'm
version. I
telling
just don't know how
you,
to finish this.
I'm telling you, Home Alone edition is where it's at.
Yes. Well, I do have an actual pitch.
Oh, that wasn't your actual
No,
pitch?
I have one that I fully thought out.
Oh, wow. Okay.
This would be more of I can't decide if I want this to be modern day or not. Some of the characters like I have race and gender swaps for some of these, so I don't know if it would work to set it in the early 1900s because my best idea that I this is the reason why I don't know where I would want this set is I want a Mrs. Potter and I want it to be Viola Davis.
Okay.
She, I love her as Amanda Waller in The Suicide Squad. She is so evil. I love her as an evil character. I was like, she would be the perfect Mr. slash Mrs. Potter. Like I could totally see her being this greedy, penny pinching, evil character. I just think that she'd be so great in this role.
Yeah, I could see her. I mean, it would also be Vanessa Williams would be perfect
That's true. That's
for
true.
that. She makes such a good villain.
Yeah. Well, my other main idea was probably because I just saw Wicked, but I thought Jonathan Bailey is George Bailey.
Okay. Okay.
And then I was having trouble deciding who I wanted to be Mary. I finally settled on Britt Marling. I don't know if you know who that is.
I don't know what that
I
is.
know her from the OA. I loved the OA. I'm one of the very few people who loved the OA. I don't think you would like the show. It's very sci-fi, fantasy weird. It's a very odd show. It's a hard sell. It was canceled after 2 seasons because nobody watched it, but I loved it. And she was the main character. She's just kind of, I don't know, ethereal, maybe. I don't know. But there was something about her I was like, I could see her as Mary. She could be both the modern day Mary who has everything together and the recluse in the alternate universe version. And then I was starting at the beginning. I was trying to think of the heavenly people. I never really fully decided on a Clarence, but I eventually last minute threw in Kevin Sussman, who played Stewart on The Big Bang Theory. I could see him as kind of a
Oh, okay.
weird little
Yeah.
angel character. But then I'm not 100% sure if I remember who the voices are. Are they God and Joseph at the beginning?
I can't remember. I
I
can't
was thinking
remember.
that's who it was, but I thought we have to have Morgan Freeman as God, and then Ian
Hmm.
McKellen can be Joseph.
Okay.
They can come in and read a few lines. They don't have to be on screen. And then this is probably my most random choice. There was something about the scene where George and Mary were on the phone together talking to the guy who wants them to join his plastics company. There was something about the mother. For whatever reason, I was like, I could see if you put enough makeup on her to age her up, Sarah Sherman. She's a cast member on Saturday Night Live. She's weird. Like that's her whole thing. She just loves being weird. And there was just something about Mary's mother that was just like, I want to see Sarah Sherman be this weird Snoopy mother.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. With the whole phone call,
Uh-huh.
plastics.
Mm-hmm. And then I have another Abbott Elementary thing here because I thought of Chris Perfetti, who plays Jacob. I thought of him for the younger brother, George's younger brother. And I did not cast any children. And for children versions, I was like, I can't. There's too many kids. Too many kid versions. I cannot think of the kids. So these
Hmm.
are all the adult versions. And then for his wife, but also the maid, because they have the scene towards the beginning where it seems like he's hitting on the maid, but it's played as a joke. I was like, why can't he be in love with the maid? So I want Aquafina to be both the maid and his wife.
Okay. Aquafina.
I love Aquafina. I think she would be great as the sassy maid and then also his wife in the future. And then for the parents, the mother was easy. I thought of Laurie Metcalf as Mrs. Bailey. I
Mm.
was really having trouble thinking of a father. I was stuck between Nick Offerman and Will Sasso because I think they both could pull off a father figure. I don't know. Like that one wasn't one that I was like fully settled on. And then his family, who he works with, for Uncle Billy, I this is another one I got stuck on a specific cast, and I thought of the kids from Bob's Burgers,
Okay.
Eugene Merman as
I was gonna
Uncle
say you
Billy.
basically have like it's you've got your collab between Big Bang Theory and Abbott.
Well, now here's some Bob's Burgers because I have
Impossible.
Eugene Merman as Uncle Billy, and then Kristen Shaw and Dan Mintz as Tilly and Eustace. There was something about Cousin Tilly. She just kind of looked like an old-timey Kristen Shaw. So
Mm.
she popped in my head first for that. And then for Bert and Ernie, for I don't know why I don't watch Saturday Night Live. I don't know why Saturday Night Live kept coming to mind, but for Bert and Ernie, I thought of Colin Jost and Michael Shea. I guess I watched their clips sometime reading the news. I thought they would be great Bert and Ernie.
Mm. I can see that.
And then again, probably because I just recently watched Wicked. For Violet, the girl who loves every boy, Ariana Grande, and for Freddie, the jealous boy at the dance, Ethan Slater.
That's funny.
And then another person that I wanted to gender swap for Mr. Gower, we could have it be Mrs. Gower, and Phyllis Smith could be Mrs. Gower. I love Phyllis
There you
Smith.
go.
And then one last minute thing I threw in just because I was trying to think of something for everyone. I probably missed some, but for the childhood friend and the guy who wants them to buy into his plastics factory, I thought of Andrew Garfield,
Oh
Sam
wow.
Wainwright.
Andrew Garfield.
And then he has to have a wife, so have it be Emma Stone from Spider-Man.
Stop.
Spider-Man, and
Two-time Oscar winner.
yeah, this would never happen, but why not?
That's hilarious. I guess if you had Lanthimos directing it, she probably would do it.
So
Very good.
that's my cast.
Well, yeah, I'll have to let us know. And if you're listening, Disney, let's do it.
Yes, your version, not mine, because mine is only half of an idea. It's not even that well thought out. I think Macaulay Culkin is a
I
great
think
idea
all
for
three of
this.
my ideas are really solid.
I think half of three of my ideas are really solid. Some of it was like stuff I threw in because I really couldn't think of somebody. But I really like the idea of Quinta Brunson as
Yeah.
Doris Walker, and Peter Capaldi needs to play Scrooge. Like how this hasn't happened yet, I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
has
I
he
could
done
see
it on
that.
stage maybe? If he's just a perfect Scrooge.
Yeah, he would be good. I feel like he's done something Scroogey. Maybe it's just the Doctor Who Christmas Carol that I'm thinking of. I don't know. Was that him or was that
No, that was
Matt
Matt
Smith?
Smith. Yeah.
I don't know if it was Matt Smith. Can't remember. It's been a while since I saw it. Well, very good. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, if you're listening, let us know what you think.
Yeah. You can let us know which one is your favorite. It's probably going to be the Macaulay Culkin idea because that's like the best idea.
Very good.
Well, thanks for joining me for this. I've been wanting to do some different types of ideas for my podcast, and this is something like I've thought it would be fun for a long time. I've heard other people do fan casts for things and
Mm-hmm.
movie pitches, and
It
I
was fun.
wanted to try it. And I thought Christmas would be the perfect time to test some ideas. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad you could join me for this one.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was fun to be creative.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah,
thanks for having me.
yeah. If people want to find you online,
Yeah, so you can find me at Hallmarkies Podcast, all things Christmas going on there. It's a lot of fun. And Rachel's reviews everywhere and also at KSL Movie Shows for at least the time being every Friday. So check that out.
okay. Well, thanks for joining me, and I'm sure we'll see you again for something else in the future.
Merry Christmas.
Thanks for listening to this podcast on the John Cast Network. We'll be back soon with another episode, but in the meantime, make sure you follow my co-hosts. I'll have their links in the description, along with links to all our latest episodes, all my socials, and my Patreon, where you can find bonus and extended episodes, and get early access to most episodes, sometimes up to a week in advance. Make sure to subscribe to this show on whichever podcast platform you prefer, and follow the John Cast Network on YouTube for more podcasts covering all kinds of things beyond just what you'll find here. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you again soon.